with the stuff that we've added in.
All right, we are live.
Okay, well, this will be fun. I don't know how long it'll last for, Ken, but we can give it a go. All right. So for giggles here, what are we doing?
We are going to Zitify the OC command, the OpenShift command, which is a fork of the Kubernetes CLI, kubectl. And the goal is to eliminate the need for any kind of VPN, firewall, or agent, any kind of network configuration for the CLI client, that is the API server client. And the hypothesis is that we're testing here is that for someone who's familiar with Go, Lang, familiar with Kubernetes, familiar with Ziti, it's not too big of a lift to go in and modify the code to import the Ziti Edge SDK so that none of that networking, that additional networking infrastructure is necessary. That way you can have a private Kubernetes cluster, private OpenShift cluster in this case, and enjoy all the features of the upstream CLI with Ziti.
Okay. A lot of this work has already been done before. You can see I am just copying and pasting from things that we've already written ourselves. And I'm going to give no credence to code cleanliness herein. So I don't want to hear any comments about the garbage code I'm writing. This is just a proof case, just to see if we can actually do it.
Right.
All right. Why won't you resolve? What are you supposed to be? You are supposed to be just a regular Go context. And config file path. All right, let's get a whole bunch of this stuff. All that in here, blah, blah, blah. Config.new from file. Where's config declared? I think it's these guys. Okay, that's a long way to go. Come on. Just waiting for GoLand to pull down the ZD SDK so I can clear off these compilation problems. Ken, off the top of your head, since I have literally never used OC, have you used OC?
Yes,
Is it
I've used it to log in.
directly
I think
compatible
that
with kubectl? I can do an
I've
OC
used it in
get
the same
pods.
way. I've yeah, I didn't really understand that it was a kubectl fork when I first started using it.
Yep,
So I thought I was supposed to use it to log in using the OpenShift
sure.
identity integrations and then start using kubectl. I didn't realize that I could just keep using OC. I'm just ignorant about it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I probably would have continued that if the name had implied that it is a kubectl fork,
yep.
or if I had read a little bit about it.
Right. I read the help.
um, so I just used it to log in, and I think I also used it to generate a kube config, like to suck the kube config out of the API server and make it available because I was looking for a way to start using the normal CLI.
Yeah. All right. So the problem I'm going to have is every time I pull a dependency, I'm probably going to have to go and slam my changes on top of this file because OC is using the straight up new default kubectl command, which is not what we need. And the problem is that down here, actually, let me make a new one, command one equals cube command dot new default. The problem is right here. When we come into new default command, you know what? Here, let me undo my little changes in this file. Yeah. All right, now let's go back to where we were. This function ends up deferring to new default kubectl command with args, and then inside of here, calls new kubectl command. Okay, and inside of here is where these cube configs are created for the very first time. And these little cube configs give you access to this config structure called new, well, created by the new config flags. It's this config flags structure. And on this, this is very convoluted. On config flags, there is a wrap function, which the Kubernetes API will actually invoke and call back into it with a REST config pointer.
Mhm.
Now, when that happens, let me go back and copy all my command stuff again so I don't lose it. When that happens, what that gives us the opportunity for is I can specify a wrap config function. And here's the magic. I can specify a dial function. And all the dial function does, this is the ZD specific code itself. It will read the config file and it will create a new context, and then it will do the dial of the service. And that's really what it comes down to. The ZD SDK has to be the thing that creates the pipe between your client app and the ZD overlay network. All too often, you'll find these APIs, they just expect TCP to just work, because TCP is TCP and there's no real innovations there. So I'll just let Golang do it. But and that's fine normally. But here we need to return this netcon, and so that's what we're really doing here. What is this reminder? Nothing. Okay. So, in fact, you could Slack Evan that we're twitching here or streaming, whatever you want to call it.
All right,
All
will
right.
do.
So that's what we're doing. I'm going back to OC, and then if you trace down through the OC bits, you'll see that they create a command using this command for base name. So they read the base name of whatever you're trying to execute, and based on what it is, they'll create one of these kinds of commands that gets returned. There's a deployer, a recycler. I don't know what the shim for OC is, but I should probably make sure that it doesn't skip over this bit because we're modifying this bit right here. All right, and then why is new default plugin handler not found? It's probably because it needs to be cube command. Okay. Well, this will now compile, supposedly. I don't know if it'll work, but I suppose I can try to debug this now. Let's see. So where's that main? Ooh, how did I get here? Command 4. Must have been a main somewhere. oc.go. There it is. Debug. I'm going to let that compile. Hopefully this will compile. If it doesn't compile, then the next hard part is going to be figuring out all the flags I need to set. It's like I actually looked at their doc yesterday. It's there. It's right here. They have a make file right here. They have a make file that specifies all kinds of interesting things, including LD flags and all that. So
Hmm.
I don't know if any of this is going to be necessary, but this is going to be tedious and slow if it doesn't just build. I don't want to, I'll probably declare bankruptcy, code bankruptcy, right on this one because I don't know what it's doing. So what I'm really hoping for is that it's just a regular go command. There's no cgo hidden down in here somewhere.
Right,
I
just
don't know
one
what those
layer
flags.
of
Yeah,
abstraction.
I'm really hoping it'll debug. And if it'll debug, then we're good. And like I don't need to do this kind of stuff, but I'm not on Darwin. I don't care about tags. Cross build. Yeah, I'm hoping this is all just mechanics for various compilation terminated. What didn't you like? Why did it terminate? Okay, try that again. I want to see the process. How do I see the progress? Is there any progress to be seen? I don't know.
Philip says he's eating popcorn right now, watching this.
Is that right? That's pretty funny. Compilation failed. Oh, .h. That is most definitely CGO stuff. Ugh. All right.
Okay, so the OpenShift command is bringing in, is wrapping a C library with
Yeah, so
CGO.
Go has a really cool thing they call CGO, and what that lets you do is it lets you basically pull in libraries and or write just straight C that gets compiled into your app. It's
Right.
really fantastic. We use it a lot in the ZD Desktop Edge for Windows because the SDK we chose to use is the C SDK for that as opposed to the Go SDK. And I had to use a whole lot of Cgo in order to, call the right functions and do the right things. So apparently, there's some vendored dependency that is requiring Cgo, and so now I've got to go and read the make file, which I am not skilled at. See if I can't figure out what and how. Now I did actually do believe I built this yesterday. So let's see if I go to GitHub Shift. I do believe I ran this yesterday. Bin. Where's that bin folder? Because hack was compile. What's it called? The the project tells you how to build it. And I did build it because you and I. Oh no, that wasn't it. I was looking for something else. I was looking for what was that tool that I was looking for yesterday? The installer, OpenShift installer. Is that what it
OpenShift
was?
install, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I ran
they
that
they
yesterday.
don't put it right up on the front page because which command you get depends on how you're going to run OpenShift. So it's like a flow chart. You have to say how you're going to run OpenShift before you get the install command.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Make should verify test. No, I just want to make. What was recorded? What? Okay. You can override this check by using go required min version equals. Minimum version is 115. I have 117. How is that a problem? Okay. What happens then? Goes on my path. What's the problem? Go is required with a minimal detected 1.17.1. Make go version. About 17.1. Nope. Didn't like that either. It says I can override it by running go make go minimum version required equals not 17. I don't. Well, this isn't going to go anywhere if this doesn't build.
I'm
Uh,
going to go check out the build docs for
well,
OC, see if
I'm
I
doing the
can
same
make
thing
sense of
because
it.
yeah, you're looking you're looking at it. It's,
You're looking at it, man.
yeah, it's literally 10 lines here. I mean, usually, you run the command and it works just fine, but create Windows version information. Hmm, building. Make OC. Okay. GSS API sources. How do I know if I have these? I don't want Python. Curb.
Uh-huh. Dependency solving. That'll get you every time. So that they had a list of packages that you need to build it on Ubuntu.
Does well, it just says in order to build OC, you need the GSS API sources, so you can install them with this. And I just did the googly Google.
Well, that's the yum package. I mean, the DNF package.
Yeah,
Is there?
it was a different name. I don't know what it was. Lib KRB dev.
Oh, you found it. Okay, good.
Well, presumably,
Maybe.
looks like the same package.
Will it build? Will it blend?
Will it blend? I actually just went and looked at those videos just the other day.
Do they still do that with new iPads and stuff?
No, there was one new video, and then like all the other ones were like 7 years old.
Guess what I'm getting today?
A blender.
That's a good guess, Clint. I'm getting my first iPad.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
Never had an
I
iPad before.
I do not see where it is that I have screwed up here. So I guess I'll have to look at whatever this is. Uh,
Build machinery.
okay, well, that actually gets me to a file. To
Is an MK file a make file?
I believe so. I don't know. It's not something I've used, but I just went in and commented out the if block and said go for it and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, you're running make. Illegal option pipe fail. Oh, it's trying to run it with dash instead of Bourne shell.
It's
It doesn't
cranking.
recognize dash O pipe fail. Have you modified the synonym sh to be, or is it default Ubuntu dash? I think Ubuntu runs dash for sh.
I I wish I even knew what you were talking about.
Then you probably haven't modified it.
No, I certainly haven't.
It's possible then that they really want you to build this on. Oh, of course, it's OpenShift. It's written for CentOS flavor.
Oh, right. I didn't even consider that. You're right.
That's what it is. You're trying to build it on
Uh,
Ubuntu, so you're going to have a world of pain. Like, why are you? What are you even doing? You're
no,
developing. You're
that's
developing
hilarious.
OpenShift. Get in the right. Get in
Yeah.
the right Linux.
All right. Well, that might be a problem. We'll see. But I mean, yeah, supposed to be cross compatible though. It's chugging.
I'm sure
We
it's
got CPU
possible.
here.
Yeah.
CPU is just blowing up, so that means Go is doing its thing.
One way you could do is just run the CentOS container. You could just build it in the container. You could write a Docker file that installs the build dependencies, and that way you only have to do it
Ah,
once, or every time you change the build dependencies,
sure.
it'll build it. Subsequent builds will be super fast because only the first one will have to go. You'll have the storage in your container image locally. You don't have to push it anywhere. You can just build it with a Docker file, and then you'll have, yeah, it's a quick and easy way to get a
Where
CentOS
does
project building. You can
where does
mount
it
your project inside the container and
okay,
have
well,
it.
it appears to have built.
Oh, never mind
How
all
do
that
I
stuff I just said.
run see help? Oh, login, new project, app, logs,
Clint C. Frog, Clint
certificate
C. Help,
pods.
OC Help.
Hmm. How do I do the equivalent kubectl command? Since OpenShift runs on top of Kubernetes, your favorite kubectl commands are also present, allowing you to quickly
Yeah,
switch.
it works the same. It should be
Why? Oh,
practically a
I know why.
synonym.
Slash. How about that? Missing or incomplete. Point to an existing complete config. By a kube command. Okay. Oh boy, this will be really slick if this just works. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I ran it. Was with a kubeconfig environment variable.
Okay.
Boom.
That's pretty neat. I can't believe that that actually worked. Hang on, because I still don't believe the traffic is going where it needs to be. Uh, I just don't trust it. That it never works on the first try, you know. So let's do kubectl get pods just to make sure that still works. Then we'll do
Yeah.
logs dash f. Okay, there's that. Come over to here. Do this. Okay, that's why it's going to be going through um, the public address. So like if I look at this and I vi this file here, oh my goodness, why is there it is? Yeah, see, so it's ah, oh well,
Evan just chatted. That's we should replace peer programming with a live stream, and I think that's a wonderful idea.
something. All right, I probably just shared my secret.
You got to
So
stop doing that, Clint.
if this cluster gets hacked, you'll know better.
Yeah, well, it's
Actually, it's a
it's for
quick
you for
fix.
this, so
Right.
it's all going to go away. Limited usefulness. So.
Yeah, limited duration. Backup.
And that's key with a live stream, is just to use disposable resources. You don't have to, because you don't want to have to worry about
Kubernetes.
censoring anything. So you're changing the server URL in your kube config to
Yeah,
use the um, ZD private URL, which also importantly is a domain name that, well, an origin that matches the subject alternative name on the API server's certificate. So it will be verifiable
yeah, that is important.
using the certificate authority data in the kube config.
Very important. Now, since I am in Windows subsystem for Linux, Kubernetes is not going to be resolvable without me sudo vi etc resolve.conf. And this is not obviously fantastic, but it should work. Let's see what happens. 100.64.0.1. Should go through. Boop, 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 boop. Come on, you can do it. No? Fine. Kubernetes curl minus k. Okay, good. So we've proven that Kubernetes does work. Now the hard part is figuring out. I don't remember how to start a thing in debug mode. Debug dot bat there. That's why. Not here. Not here. Not here. It's in none of those. Okay. Switch to here. I guess I'll use a new window. My computer's going to overload at any moment. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Nope, nope, nope. I don't know where I'm going anymore. Here it is. I'm gonna run this from command. Oh, this is getting complicated. I don't have my development
You
environment
want
set to debug
to
inside of
take a step
OS
back
now.
and bring me up to speed so we can
Yeah, so basically where I'm
think out
at
loud?
is I've gotten it to compile using make, which is fantastic. That's great. And
Great.
now I want to know why it doesn't actually work, which means I have to debug it. And that's the harder part. So I have two options. One is the option from 1975. I go in and I start writing printfs all over the place, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing just because I don't want to invest a tremendous amount of time in doing it any better way. So what I can do is I can come in here and just make sure that it actually is hitting my kubectl command by doing something like logres dot error error, come on, error, logger us dot error. Here we are having a great time.
Let me ask a couple of questions and quick
Hang
recap.
on while I
So
tell
you
my daughter she can make eggs on the stove. Here, hang on.
Acceptable Eggs is my new band name.
All right.
So context, you have successfully zitified the kubectl, the Kubernetes CLI before,
Yeah.
and so you're looking to do the same for OC, which is a fork of the kubectl command.
Yep.
And
I will
you
call it
so what did
superset.
you encounter when you cracked open the code for OC? Do you see the same Go files in the same places using, connecting to the server URL in the same way, or is there a completely different approach that you
Nope.
found?
It is entirely identical. Oh
Okay.
boy. Let's
So
see.
you don't suspect any major differences in between the two forks, between the fork and the upstream, the OC fork and the
Well,
upstream
no,
kubectl, to in the way that it connects to the server URL.
um, let's take that in two different questions. So I don't see there being any significant differences, right? Because with kubectl, you basically have. Let me find it because I've been copying and pasting from it off screen here. Okay, with kubectl, this is my incubator project, which Nick Piros basically wrote, and I just kind of massaged here and there.
Right. Yeah, and
But
that's in the
here's
OpenZD
my
and
main.go.
GitHub.
Yep, in OpenZD incubator, you can go and get this. I lied;
This
it's
is
not
the
60 lines.
kubeztl fork
This
of
is the
kubectl.
cube ZTL. That's right. So in
Right.
GoLand, you need a main.go and need a function with a
Yep.
main function, and that's your
Hmm.
entry point. And
Right.
so in OC over here, they have an oc.go, which provides their main function. And then down here, they're creating this command gizmo, and then they're executing the command. Whatever it is, they're going to just execute it. And so I have to follow this function to find out what they're doing. Okay, so this is what OC is doing. This is what we're doing. You can see here, so I'm doing some logris stuff. This is all this is all code that we basically copied from the kubectl fork itself, our origin, the actual
Right.
kubectl.
Okay.
So this little line right here and this little line right here, well, actually, this line right here we copied. This line we wrote, and then this is the magic. This is where we're making a new command. You'll see the difference is I'm calling new default kubectl command with args and config flags. Such a big long name. But really all it does is it lets me specify this kube configs argument to the function. So if I go into this function, you'll see I'm now able to supply a config flags via this kube config flags variable name. If you then go through and look to see where it's used in this one command here, new kubectl command with config flags, and it just passes those flags in. So we go into this one, it's still called kube config flags, and you'll see right here is what we had to change in effect. I mean, we added those two functions before, but we also had to change this little bit. So if I have passed in a kube config flags structure, don't make a new one, right? So that's what this if is saying. And if I haven't passed it in, it's probably because it's some other user not doing Zitified stuff, not using this API. So just make it the way you always used to. And so that's what this if block does. Oops, I just screwed it up. Then there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't even claim to understand because this came from the Kubernetes authors. It's adding some flags. It's doing some new match version flags. But like all this logic I don't even care about. I didn't learn. I don't care about it at all. What I also cared about though is where where is it? There's one little extra block. Where's the wrap function? Where is the?
So
And I delete it.
you're wrapping the
Oh,
kube
it's down here.
config
It's down
so
here.
that you can merge in the additional command line options or
Yeah. So
kube config
we
properties.
we have to pass in a kube config flags because we have to be able to set the wrap config function, which is what I'm finding right here. So
Right.
I have to be able to set this wrap config function. Kube configs already. If in Goland, if it starts with a capital letter, it's public. If it's a lowercase letter, it's private. So this is a public structure called wrap config, and it's a function. It's not a structure, but you get the idea. So this is a public thing. If you have one of these config flag objects, you can change this. They're saying this is meant for you to be able to set it and change it. It's cool, but because cube config flags is created inside of this function, it's never made. It's I can't pass it in, and because I can't pass it in, I can't set the wrap config function, and because I can't set the wrap config function, I can't. I know because I can't set the wrap config function, I can't override the dial function, and that's really so. Like this is the meat and potatoes, the magic, right
Yeah,
here.
that's where it happens right
That's
there.
the magic. Yeah.
That's where it calls
So
the server URL.
So now we come back over to the OC command. You'll see that, well, I've mucked with it, but I'll copy all this and then undo. You'll see that the OC command simply calls cube command new default command. It does the same sort of stuff, right? But what it, let's go back to, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to revert local history. Where's local history? Local history, show history. I undid some stuff. I did too much stuff. Then I lost my undo. Let's undo this one. I want to use this one. Oh, I use it. Come on, use it. Yeah, revert. All right, fantastic. There we go. Yeah, yeah. All right. Now
You're
that's what
using
they.
the JetBrains IDE?
Yep. Go. This is called GoLand.
Oh,
Um.
Golang. Okay.
So this is what they are doing. The OC command is doing, and here's how I have changed it. I have to make that cube config flags so I can set the wrapper function. In the wrapper function, I have to be able to set the dial function, and that's the magic.
Hmm.
So here's the magic, and that's how we were able to get it in there is through those little bits. But
Right.
well, actually, if I come up here, you'll see I haven't really used Z flags anywhere. I don't think Minikube config is used. Like I don't know what these things are for yet. Still figuring that bit out. But where I'm at is I'm wondering if logger stop error we did it. Sure. I'm wondering if my command is even compiling correctly. So had a I had a build going before where I had changed that a little bit, and I should right at this point I should see a log message that says we did it. I should see it here. I'm not seeing that, so I'm just trying to prove to myself that this
Okay.
function is actually getting called because I can't really debug this. So I'm going to do
If
logger.
you begin to suspect a build error, then we might want to change that make file to use bash because the error that it's spitting out about the pipe fail could result in hiding errors. It could, like a silent failure in the build.
Yeah, I mean, it appears to be creating a OC binary on at this path. So
Right.
it
I'm just saying
seems
the
like
the
it's
make file
building.
the make file is written to bail out if it encounters an error, but it's not able to detect errors because it is using an interpreter that doesn't understand the option that was set. So it's potentially failing silently and then building a broken build.
Well, it wouldn't finish though. See, yeah. So it's actually building. Like I just wrote that. for sure. Um, Go wouldn't can actually create a executable if it failed along the way.
If it wouldn't compile, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
why I
saying
always
that the shell interpreter is where the strict error handling is enabled in the make file, but it's not being enabled as designed because of the interpreter is different on this version of Linux.
see if it's getting down into here. There's a good chance. Oh, shim. This creates a new default command. Why? Ugh. All right, I bet it's coming down into here. Just copy all that same stuff. I don't know why I would have a function that just did this. That's what I thought. See, it never works the first time.
So you're not surprised.
No, I don't know. I've never written code that ran right on the first try. Every time I do, I expect I did it wrong. All right, let's see what
Right,
happens.
yeah. Like, this can't be right.
It's never, yeah, it never works.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have a bad habit of not running it as frequently as I should while I'm editing.
Hmm.
So it's utterly
Could,
shocking when it
that
actually
could be,
works.
yeah, it could be bad. Okay, so now this should be reading the config file. It might not have the correct parsing necessary. Like, why is there a way to add more? I want
So
OC.
okay, so you're just trying to figure out where it's hanging or failing, and
Yeah.
you're not certain that it is getting the wrapped config.
I would definitely be getting it now because I am, let's see, definitely getting a new config
Okay,
here. So let's just
and
make
you
it
modified
extra.
your cube config to have the necessary ZD properties, correct?
One would hope. Let's see. Let's see.
Or you could pass them on the command line as well, right? Just like you did with kubectl.
Yep, yep. Oh, you know what? That's what I can do. Oh, made a build error. What did I do? 391. Oh yeah, that's a build error. All right. How did I do that? Oh, where? Oh, right here. Ah, here it is. In and out. And error. It's up to. Oh, let's go look to see what I was going to go look. I don't have it set over here. I'm going to have to do it over here. I don't know what I set the keep config to. Modified. Yeah. So that's going to have it set. There. Magic. Okay. Let's just run this again. Okay. Now it's saying error loading config file. That's good. Config file not found.
You have your kubeconfig invar set.
Yes. See right up above.
Right.
Um, but
Well,
Cube.
there's a value there, but is there a file there?
Oh yeah, I just looked at it. Let's just do cube config equals, no space here. Config file blank is not found.
Can you do a file command on that environment variable?
I just did.
Okay.
I'll do an LL on this
Boom.
cat.
Yep.
Head.
You do indeed have a non-empty file there.
But
Some of the
this error,
modification may be pointing it towards a different
yeah,
location.
this error I thought was surely ours. I thought that.
Oh, that's the ZD
Oh,
ID. That's the
yeah,
ZD config file.
yeah. So we've actually gotten into the dial function.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. Good point. Yes. Excellent.
the identity config file.
That's
We should change that to
this.
say the ZD
There's
identity config
this.
file is not found,
Let's do a head -1 on this. Okay, so that's there too.
not to be confused with the cube config.
That thing is there. It says it can't load the config file from the config file path. I know why. It's because, oh no, it's because config file path was never set. So this thing I bet is, yeah, that's the whole problem. What a doofus. All right, I know what I did wrong. Where is, I don't want this one. Where is this? In here, we have a whole bunch of boilerplate baloney that we need to also just slam right over on top of in here. Okay, no errors. We got one error. What's this one? YAML. What's this say? No YAML. Mhm. Okay. Now, where does read cube config come into the mix? On find. Uh-huh. Hmm. Why is this all okay? What has happened here? That's a lot of red. Done. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in OC. How did I get to OC? I was here. Okay, so get option config list. Do we have that in here? We do. Where's this consumed? Parse cube config. Copy that function. Get cube config. Set ZD flags. Okay. And then look at that. Did this. This is the bit I have to also copy. Okay, and then go back to main OC. Where are we? What did I do? Oh, they're just not used. Okay, that's fine. Pull dependencies. Man, that's really a pain. Where are those coming from? Oh, yeah, you pasted that stuff in the wrong place. Where's that case? Here. Okay, now it's happy. It said CD flags. Is that really unused? Did not copy that. CD flags right there. Why is it telling me it's unused? Redeclared. Aha. Okay, are you happy now? All right, now I gotta go and copy this command file again. This is the pull request we're trying to get merged that they have not accepted to kubectl. And
Will that bring in the ZD stuff?
oh, no. I just want, I have asked for what I consider to be a perfectly reasonable um, a change to the API, which would allow me to specify and to pass those kube configs that we talked about before. And without being able to do that, I can't do what I need to do. Make OC, fine. What did I do to fix this? Golang MK. Machine may go. Oh my goodness. All right, doing this the hard way. Coming up on my 30-minute imposed deadline. It
What does that
worked.
sound mean?
It worked.
It worked.
It worked. I can't
Right at
believe
30
it.
minutes?
I can't believe it. Kubectl logs dash f cd. Oh, I don't have cube config equals temp here. Cube config. Kubectl logs dash f cd. Oh,
Did
modified.
autocomplete
No. It's because
hang?
I'm using modified. Uh, Kubectl.
I see
It.
you trying to do yourself a favor with meaningful names. That's good practice.
But it's not.
Come on,
It's
baby.
not. It's not. It's not working. Why is that? All right, fine. Now let's look at the stupid kubeconfig file.
So you're bouncing back to check to see if you can still connect with the same OpenShift config with kubectl
What have I done there? No,
using Nano. That's the problem.
not on purpose. I was just trying to find server inside of here, and I hit a bunch of keys. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was going there
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because kubectl get pods.
Can you slow down a little bit and like let me know what you're doing?
I'm just trying to tail the logs. I just want to see it
Okay.
go through this. I mean, I am like 99% sure that it worked because it went through here, but
Yep.
I want to see it so I can
Yeah.
feel
You
good
want
about
okay,
it,
right.
you know. So I
So
should be able to
what
do a
was the server
kubectl.
URL that you used with the OC command, the modified OC command?
This
OC
is
OZ.
this is using the Kubernetes endpoint, right?
Okay.
So if I grep for server in this file, it's
The
using
server URL is
Kubernetes.
just Kubernetes. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm surprised that get pods is not working because
It has a
this
backup server too. Does that mean it
no
maybe fell
so
over?
no, this is a fun YAML thing. If you just give it any other key name, you can just duplicate the row, and then you don't have to put a pound in front of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Let's see. We can see, and it's not actually. No, I'm using a different one on the left-hand side. Why is kubectl get pods failing? Oh, oh. You know what?
On the left in
No.
is that
ZD might be soaking it up. Let's see.
Did you have an intercept matching the
Yeah,
elastic load balancer name?
yeah, yeah.
And it could be
So
maybe flush
sudo
DNS.
pi etc resolve.conf. Go to this.
There you go.
So that was a self-inflicted wound, as expected.
All right. So is you're running kubectl here? Is this unmodified upstream kubectl?
Right. So in this window here on the left, I have unmodified kubectl because currently we still have public access to the Kubernetes API. On the right-hand side, I have modified the OC binary
Right.
to get pods,
There it
and
goes.
you can see the traffic come through.
And that's from the hosting pod running inside OpenShift, right?
Yep. So if you were to turn
Cool.
off the Kubernetes public API DNS in any way, shape, or form, we would still be able to access the Kubernetes control plane using ZD.
Ooh, I
Super
wonder if I
neat.
can do that without tipping the entire cluster over.
I don't know, but
Would it be
I'm just
worth
excited that I was
playing
able
with?
to do this in 32 minutes.
Well, yeah, me too. And you verified that the traffic is arriving via ZD.
Well, I mean,
Um,
it can't go any other way, right? Like if I
because the
grep,
server URL is just Kubernetes, an
yeah,
unqualified domain name. Yeah.
I mean, if I
So
grep
it's
for a server
definitely
there,
going
it's
straight
clearly,
from. So the end
yeah,
result is the OC command with ZD Edge SDK imported has wrapped the dial function to the server URL from the kubeconfig. It loads in an additional configuration property, either by command line or kubeconfig, which is the ZD crypto identity or the config file, the ZD config file. So that tells it how to get onto the ZD network, and it then traverses the ZD network and arrives at the OpenShift API server via the ZD hosting pod that we'd installed in advance, that you installed in the cluster in advance with helm install ZD.
yep,
That's
neat.
amazing. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
it worked out way better than I expected. I thought I was going to crash and burn at one point, but
For
we
a
made
minute
it.
there.
We
All
made it.
right.
I mean, the
So do
code's
you
not
want
beautiful, right? I just hammered all this stuff together and threw a bunch of
right?
bubblegum and Tic Tacs up there. But
Yes, and you definitely so there's definitely some cleanup required. But since we moved so quickly, is there anything that you want to recap about the little journey that you took, the
yeah,
zigs and the
well,
zags to get
for
here,
starters, we built it using Ubuntu,
which
and then
probably isn't recommended for
yeah, probably not,
OpenShift
but
CLI?
worked out just fine. Like you would hope an
Okay,
open source project would not be
right,
too finicky. Plus, OC is a cross-built library or executable, so it needs to work on Windows anyway. As you can tell by my start menu, I'm running in Windows, so I was able to use Windows in Windows Subsystem for Linux, the Ubuntu flavor of it, in order
right,
to install the necessary dependencies. The make file in the OC project was helpful because it clearly needs to have some libraries set and some flags set because some dependency is using cgo, and debugging that from my integrated development environment, my IDE, was not particularly easy. So I had to go back to 1980 debugging by adding printf type statements. I had already established the whole ZD network ahead of time. Clearly, that would have taken more time. I already had this service pre built and I had this identity pre built, which makes it a lot easier as well. Um,
right,
so that saved a bunch of time. But like we were just, on a call talking about Zitified kubectl with OpenShift, and Red Hat team said, "Hey, can you try this with OC? Or did you try it with OC?" And I said, I hadn't, but I just had that thought. And then Ken and I hopped on here and said, "Let's go do it." So but we
awesome,
did it. Just tickled
yay!
pink. I had no, I had like it started out pretty rocky with the whole make command and everything, but yeah, it worked out. Well, that
Good
was
stuff,
fun,
man.
Ken.
All right, yeah, that was fun, and that's a wrap. So I'll see you around.
Ah, do I just leave?